Are we ready? Live stream. Good morning and happy Sabbath to everyone that's gathered this morning at our Mills River Seventh-day Adventist Church. And those who are on live stream with us, this whole series on the Health and Wellness Summit is on live stream. So those who cannot come, let others know that they can watch it on the screen. This morning we want to welcome once again our presenter group from Uchee Pines Institute or Wellness. What else do you call it? I'm sorry? Yeah, Health Emphasis Weekend from Uchee Pines. And we thank you for coming. And last night, if those who missed it, they can still watch it on our website, Mills River Seventh-day Adventist Church, on mental health. And it was kind of a new or an additional aspect that I learned, at least last night, that mental health is not merely about how you think and how you feel, it is also how you take care of your brain as an organ. And the importance of other aspects of wellness that affect the brain in a way that we can make more powerful use of that organ. So for those who have missed this, again, they can watch it on live stream. This morning we continue with our program. This morning is about steps to abundant health. This has two parts of it. One is beginning right next minute here at 9:30. And the other part is beginning during our worship service at 11 a.m. This afternoon, for those who don't know, we have two more programs. That's on reversal and prevention of disease. That begins after our fellowship lunch at 2 o'clock and the second presentation at 3:30. So we have a full Sabbath experience with each other, and we want to ask God's blessings for that. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you first of all for the Sabbath day and the special blessings you have in store for us every day as we are in communion with you. We thank you for your promise that when 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, that you are in our midst. And we thank you and praise you for that. We pray now that your Holy Spirit be on those who present this morning, and that the truths that will be spoken will be lodged in our hearts, and we will have courage and initiative to implement those truths as you present them to us through the presenters this morning. And we thank you for all that you will do through us, for us and through us, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uchee, and I'll be presenting about nutrition. So, I believe the most important question when it comes to nutrition is, how does nutrition apply to me, and why should I have a nutritious diet? So, having a nutritious diet helps with many things that the world struggles with, such as weight loss, cancer prevention, lowering the risk of cardiovascular disease, mental health, muscle growth, and better sleep. Now, these are all things that can be drastically changed with just a simple dietary decision. Today, I'll be mostly focusing on weight loss and mental health. First, I'll be explaining why we gain weight in the first place and what causes it. Today, let's answer the questions why we get fat and why we gain weight and how we can improve this. For decades, a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet was recommended for weight loss and disease prevention. Food companies responded by creating lower fat diets or products. And food companies did succeed in creating lower fat products. But instead of saturated fats, they use sugar, which still turns into saturated fats in our body. This is why all metabolic disease rates are still increasing, despite the efforts to reduce our saturated fats. So, I'm sure you can guess what a source of saturated fats are, right? Foods that are processed with copious amounts of oil, like fried foods, burgers, pizzas, steak, and bacon, etc. We know these aren't the best for you, even though I know it's some of your favorites. On the contrary, here's some foods that we can consume to decrease the amount of saturated fats in your diet. The foods like almonds, avocados, and seeds are good sources of unsaturated fats. Eliminating fatty foods and increasing unsaturated fats in our diet can drastically improve your health. We all know that depression and anxiety are serious mental problems that affect most of the population today. But was it always like that? Studies done by CBT Baltimore show that from 1990 to 2017, there was a 49.29% increase in depression. Studies also show that anxiety rates are the worst they've ever been in history. Although it is true that we're eating less red meat, eggs, milk, and refined sugar than in the 1970s, why is it that the number of people with depression and anxiety continue to rise? The answer is simple. Our consumption of highly processed foods and oil is at an all-time high. Can you guess what industry started growing exponentially about that time? That's right, the fast food industry. To provide some examples, Burger King was founded in 1954, McDonald's was founded in 1955, and Wendy's 1969. These restaurants were quick and easy, hence the name fast food. They were convenient, cheap, and tasty. In a world where people are getting more and more impatient, food is just another thing to wait for. So when you eat out, when you eat out, why wait 30 minutes for some mediocre teriyaki when you could just go down the street for some McDonald's? You may be asking, what does McDonald's and fast food have to do with mental problems? Well, let's look at the statistics. Harvard conducted studies comparing the Mediterranean diet and the Japanese diet, traditional Japanese diet, to a standard American diet and found that the traditional diets decreased the risk of depression by 20 to 35%. These traditional diets tend to be void of any processed and refined foods and sugars. Also, many of the unprocessed foods in traditional diets are fermented, acting as probiotics and helping promote a good gut microbiome. I'm not myself without my coffee. Have any of you said that before? Well, instead of drinking coffee every morning, let's see what we can do let's look at what we can do to decrease our need of drinking coffee every morning. One of the things we can do is eat a magnesium-rich diet. What does magnesium do anyways? Magnesium-rich foods such as avocados, nuts, and tofu. What does magnesium do anyways? Well, magnesium helps your brain regulate neurotransmitters and plays a role in relaxing the neurons. So without magnesium, you'll feel more awake at night. Magnesium also helps you learn faster and protects the neurons from inflammation and oxidative stress. It even supports the regeneration of neurons. Going back to the beginning of the coffee, do any of you find yourself without coffee scary? Do you find yourself at work irritable because you don't get your coffee? Or are you easily upset when things just don't go your way? Many dismiss this as just who they are, I'm hangry, or I hit legs yesterday. Well, this might not be as simple as you thought. Your diet plays a big role in how you manage your emotions. Do you know what organ is the most essential when it comes to managing our emotions? Correct, it's the gut. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of the chemical serotonin, right? Well, just in case you haven't, I'll give you a quick synopsis. Serotonin is the chemical that regulates your mood, sleep, digestion, and your wound healing. Oh, and bone health. If I told you serotonin is not made in the brain and it's actually made in the gut, would you be surprised? Here's how to get a healthier gut. So according to Johns Hopkins, eating a fiber-rich diet and probiotic food are essential to having a gut health. Foods such as artichokes, apples, raspberries, spinach, and more greens are good sources of fiber, and probiotic foods such as kimchi, kombucha, miso, and non-dairy yogurt, and apple cider vinegar are also good sources of probiotic essential foods. In Japanese, we have a phrase called "damasareta mitai ni yatte miro," which basically means try it as if you were deceived. I want you all to try these changes I presented to you today. Though it may seem little, you'll be surprised how much can change with just a simple dietary change. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. So that was very entertaining. Now, my name is Cody Walker, and today I have the privilege of presenting the second law of the 8 laws of health, which that would be exercise. So, how many? Just a show of hands, really quickly. How many of you guys exercise? Get a nice brisk walk or a hike? You guys have a lot of mountains through here, so that's a good hand. So this is going to be very easy for those who didn't raise their hands. I'm just gonna, this is gonna be the kickstart for you to get out there, So let's just bear with me. It's gonna start off a little slow, so just bear with me. So let's see what the Bible says about exercise. So when you say exercise and fitness and health, I feel like they're all synonymous. So the text that best exemplifies this to me is this one. So it goes, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." That's 3 John 1 and 2. So that's one good scripture, health, how does that scripture have to do with exercise? Let's look at this next quote that I found that was very interesting. It says, "Perfect health depends upon perfect circulation." Does anybody know where that came from? Ellen G. Yes, ma'am. Ellen G. White, Healthful Living, page 178, originally published in 1897. That's a long time. So no, it's okay. 3 John, Ellen G. White. What does that have to do with exercise and health? Well, how do they correlate? Let's look at this real quick. So you need good blood flow to obtain the benefits of physical activity. Conveniently, exercise improves circulation, and it stimulates the growth of new blood vessels in the brain. So why is that good? With all these new blood vessels, the blood has new avenues to go through. So if you have fat or a blockage in one area, you can just go around and, so that prevents heart attacks and heart-related diseases, which you get from exercising. Now, obviously, there are lots of forms of exercise. You have weight training for, bigger muscles. I see a few big gents in there, so, guys hitting the gym, pumping that iron. Balance training, flexibility. I tried that. That's a balance, but it's extremely hard, by the way. You can have calisthenics, just, sit-ups, push-ups, getting strength from there. And flexibility training, getting a nice stretch, ligaments, joints and everything. But these are all good forms of exercise, but the best way to get that collateral circulation is from aerobic exercise. So why aerobic exercise? Now, aerobic exercise is good in that because it's a physical activity that uses large muscle groups in your body, and it's rhythmic and repetitive. So it gets you in the move. It's not just a boring 1, 2, 3, 4. It works with the body. So during aerobic exercise, your blood pumps quickly throughout your body, and your lungs take in more oxygen. So the word aerobic means with oxygen. So that's it's just taking in the oxygen and fueling your muscles. So a few examples of good aerobic exercise. Well, these are very dynamic ones. You got swimming. I hope you got some swimmers in here. Cycling. We have a nice lady riding a bike, and it's just not subject to one. You guys can ride their bikes too. And believe it or not, this is a good one. Gardening. Gardening is a great one because the fact that when you're digging and you're hoeing and you're getting down and dirty in the dirt, you're causing your heart rate to go up. So that's a good one. That's a very good exercise. So other examples of aerobic exercise are brisk walking, hiking, jogging, skipping rope. Like I said, you guys have very beautiful mountains through here, so I must say that you guys have it all made out. Stair climbing is also one too. That's all just to get the heart rate pumping and the blood flowing. So let's look at the benefits of aerobic exercise real quick. You get stronger bones, you increase your mental function, it assists in weight management and weight loss, and improves your muscle strength. So additional benefits, internal benefits that we really like to look at, you got improves your lung function, it reduces your risk of developing heart disease, hypertension, stroke, diabetes, lowers your blood pressure, and helps manage your blood sugar. But with all good things, we have some risks. So let's look at the risk real quick. Yes, it's just some slight stuff, a bit of sprains, bone fractures, soreness and joint pain. But you have joint pain now, so what can you lose if you exercise, So science and exercise. Let's just look at this quote real quick. A growing body of evidence has shown that exercise is not all that good for weight loss, which is probably many people's reason for doing it in the first place. Crazy, I know, right? But here's what science tells us, that we should probably keep exercising forward, even though we may not love every minute of it. That's from Alice G. Walton. So let's look at these slides really quickly. So, these folders. So, it says that neuroscientists used to believe that the brain was the only organ incapable of growing new cells, but in recent years it's become clear that the brain too can grow new neurons in a process called neurogenesis. So the area of the brain that benefits the most from this is the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and learning. So it also shrinks in dementia and depression, but when you exercise, you have some control over it to stave that off. So, get out there and start your walk-in. Another one, depression is now the leading cause of disability in some cases death across the globe. Interestingly, exercise has been shown to be as effective as other forms of treatment, and for some types of depression. So, all the serotonin from Brother Jai talked about last night, the happy hormones, the endorphins, they all activate in the brain from aerobic exercise and movement. So, and the third one, inflammation. It says that aerobic exercise like brisk walking can help reduce body fat, which contains substances that promote inflammation. So brisk walking, moving, just 20 minutes of moderate workout can really do a measurable effect on the immune system. And we all know that inflammation is an underlying cause of a wide range of diseases and disorders in both the body and the brain. So folks, get out there, exercise, walk, stair climb, do something, just get the heart pumping. Thank you for listening to my my presentation. You're all a blessing. Thank you.
So we're here talking about, health and the health laws, right? New Start. But does anyone know what the W in New Start stands for? Anyone? That's right. Hello, my name is Alexia, and today I'll be taking 7 minutes to convince you why you need more water. I don't know if it's just me, but have you ever wondered what exactly our body is made up of? I know we have bones, organs, skin, and if you want to be a little bit more technical, you have cells, muscles, and tissues. But did you know that our body is made up of 70% of water? Our blood, 90%, our brain, 85%, our muscles, 75%, our bones, 20 to 25%. And this one may actually shock you, but even our teeth has water, standing at 10%. So we see that water is a key component in our body's made up. So what is water? Water is a colorless, odorless, transparent liquid that forms the oceans, the seas, lakes, rivers, and the rain, and is the basis of fluids for all living organisms, right? So we see that water is in everything, and water is the basis of fluids for living organisms. That it means it's important. So how much water do we need daily? We know the typical 8 cups, which is not necessarily wrong, but for some people it can be too little, and for some people it can be too much. So you need to know how much water you need for your body daily. So to help you with that, I'm gonna give you a little calculation that we learned that could help with that. So in order to know how much water you need daily, you're gonna take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and however much that is, that's the amount in ounces you need. So let's do a small example. So there's a gentleman named John, right? He weighs 160 pounds. You'll divide that by 2, it would be 80 ounces. And 80 ounces is 10 cups. So if you're someone who weighs 180 pounds, you need 10 cups of water. And it'd be the same for anyone else in here. So you could just take this calculation and, when you get home, you could do a little something on a paper and see how much water you need daily. If you drink a lot of diuretics, which are like your caffeinated beverages, your teas, your sodas. I am going to stress the caffeinated beverages because that is really important. If you drink a lot of those, which are diuretics, and diuretics are stuff that cause you to urinate more often, so you're losing water. If your body's in a state where it's constantly losing water, you are going to need more water. And if you're someone who has a high salt diet, a high sugar diet, a high protein diet, you're going to need more water. So throughout every point of the day, our body is losing water through, urination, defecation, perspiration, and respiration. So if your body's in a state where it's losing more and more and more and more water, what are you going to be feeling? Anyone? I hear it's a D word. I hear it in the crowd. Nice. You're going to feel dehydrated. Well, not nice. You're going to feel dehydrated. Dehydration is when you're losing more fluids than you're taking in, and your body doesn't have enough water to function normally. So, signs of dehydration. Can anyone tell me what's the biggest sign of dehydrated? The number one sign that you're dehydrated? Right. Approximately 80% of the American public is chronically dehydrated and are failing to meet the daily requirement of cups per day. That means at least 8 out of 10 people in this room right now as I speak is dehydrated. I may be one of them. So there are 2 types of thirst. There's acute thirst, which means you're thirsty in the moment, and there's chronic thirst, which means you're thirsty all the time. So if you find yourself thirsty all the time, your thirst cannot be quenched. I think you should probably pay a little bit more attention to this presentation that I'm giving you. So other signs of dehydration include hunger. If you find yourself hungry between meals or 9 p.m. in the night, some of you know what I'm talking about, drink a glass of water. I guarantee you would feel better and just hop right into bed. Headache. If you have a headache, drink a glass of water every 10 minutes for an hour, and headache, gone. More signs of dehydration include this long laundry list, but I won't bore you with you, but I will highlight a few of the more important ones, which are ones that we see every day in our life. We have dry lips, constipation, and dark urine. So you're sitting in the congregation right now and you're wondering, okay, I'm struggling to up my water intake. What are some key tips that I could use? Well, I do have a few. 1, eat water-rich foods. Many fruits have high content of water and are perfect supplement for water. Flavor it. Add to your water lemons, limes, oranges, cucumbers, mint, whatever works best for you. Know your goal. Challenge yourself to drink the daily requirement of water for yourself for the day. Use a water bottle. Make your water bottle portable. It will be more convenient to drink. Tie it into your routine. Create a routine where you drink a glass of water every time you brush your teeth, or 30 minutes before a meal, or after you use the bathroom. Now, we've been talking about the benefits of water when it's ingested. What about the external purposes? Hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy is a method that treats symptoms and conditions using water. It can be simple as taking a warm shower at home, or a facial contrast or a contrast shower. Now, for those who have any more questions or anything else about hydrotherapy, there will actually be a booth tomorrow called Water, where they'll be talking a little bit about, water, and they actually will be a small demonstration on facial contrast. So if you want to learn more or ask questions, come out tomorrow at the health fair. 9:30. To summarize, water is a key component in the body's makeup. Water is the basis of fluids for living organisms. Water is necessary for the body to function normally. And lastly, a lot of our problems could be solved by just drinking water. To close, let us all read together John 4, verse 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So let us purpose ourselves not to only drink of the physical water, but also of the spiritual water. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jada, and I'm going to be talking about sunlight today. Sunlight. Just how much does it have to do with our health? What are the benefits, and does it really matter if I get enough sun or not? So first off, let's talk about one of the best known benefits of sunlight, vitamin D. Vitamin D is an essential nutrient, meaning that your body cannot produce this nutrient on its own. Vitamin D, sometimes called the sunshine vitamin, is made from the cholesterol in your skin when it is exposed to UVB light rays from the sun. So how important is vitamin D? So vitamin D helps you to absorb calcium and phosphorus, which are needed for building and maintaining healthy bones and teeth. Vitamin D also plays a crucial role in the function of your immune system. Besides this, vitamin D has many other benefits. Another important one that the vitamin plays is a big part of your mental health as well, with depression and anxiety being the most common mental disorders in people with a vitamin D deficiency. So did you know that over 1 billion people worldwide have a vitamin D deficiency? That's a lot, right? Some of us in this room right now may have this deficiency, and we may be missing out on many of these important benefits. Some signs of vitamin D deficiency might be mood changes, joint pain, fatigue, muscle cramps, I already said mood changes, frequent illness, and slower wound healing. Other symptoms of vitamin D, if it goes on for, or deficiency, if it goes on for long enough, could be osteoporosis in adults and rickets in children. Now, there are 3 ways which we get our vitamin D. One is, of course, by the sunlight hitting our skin. Another is by diet. And the third is by supplements. But the best way to get our vitamin D is with sunlight, because our bodies will more readily absorb it and regulate the amounts of vitamin D being taken in. And we can't all count on getting enough vitamin D from diet alone unless we're consuming a lot of fatty fish or dairy. But these foods can bring in other potential health problems. So since sunlight is the best way to get vitamin D, some may be wondering, well, how long do I need to be in the sun? Well, the general recommendation is 15 to 30 minutes for people with lighter skin and 30 to 60 for people with darker skin because of the melatonin, which the more you have, the darker you are, and the harder it is to get vitamin D. And the recommended time to go out in the sun is before 10 a.m. and after 3 p.m. If you can't get those hours, just get whatever you can. Just be considerate of getting sunshine around noon, because noon is when the sun's UV rays are strongest and can do potential damage if you're out long enough without coverage. Okay. So there's a misconception that the sun is the main cause of skin cancer. But the sun doesn't actually cause cancer in itself. And yes, overexposure to the sun's rays can increase your chances in skin cancer. But instead, did you know that sunlight actually prevents 16 types of cancers? The first is 8 types of gastrointestinal cancers. These are cancers having to do with your digestive system. Some might be stomach cancer or colon cancer. The other is 3 types of female cancers: breast cancer, cervix cancer. 3 types of urogenital having to do with your urinary and reproductive systems. This is prostate cancer or kidney cancer. and 2 types of lymphomas. These are cancers having to do with your lymphatic system, which, by the way, your lymphatic system protects you from infection and destroys abnormal cells that your body doesn't need. Another benefit is getting exposure to sunlight in the morning can help you sleep at night because it helps to reset your body's inner clock, your circadian rhythm. So by beholding the sun in the morning, your body will know when to produce its melatonin, which is what helps regulate your sleep. So another interesting thing about the sun is its ability to kill viruses and bacteria. After the 2004 tsunami in Southeast Asia, there was a massive problem of contaminated water in the region, so scientists recommended using SODIS. SODIS is a way to filter your water. It means solar water disinfection. So I'm going to take you through a quick little tutorial on how this works. So the first thing is use clean PET bottles. Now they say PET, it's a type of plastic that doesn't have BPA. It still has a little bit of chemicals in it, so I'll show you what to use instead if you're still worried about it. But okay, so use clean PET bottles, then you fill the bottles with water and close the cap. Expose the bottles to direct sunlight for at least 6 hours or for 2 days under cloudy conditions, and store water in SODIS bottles. Then you drink the SODIS water directly from the bottles or from clean cups. Now, so a better thing to use would be either glass bottles or mason jars for this. Then you won't guarantee no chemicals. So let's get out there in the sun. I have a closing verse, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. So the Son that God gave us and Jesus Christ, his Son, can give us healing. Thank you.
Good morning, church family. My name is Dwayne, and we are going to talk about temperance. And a few interesting facts. Did you know temperance is the secret ingredient to a happy and healthy life? Did you know most diseases trace their origin to an intemperate habit or a lifestyle? The importance of this overlooked topic is the cornerstone for all healthy practices and lifestyle. So today we're going to take a quick look at some of these practices and try to implement them in your day-to-day life. So in short, temperance is to dispense entirely with everything that is hurtful and to use judiciously that which is helpful. Or in other words, a simpler way to even say that is complete abstinence from that which is harmful and moderation in that which is good. This is the principle that I hope we can take away from this topic today. An intemperate man cannot be a patient man. Why do we care about being patient, saints? Revelation 14:12 tells us, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. You see, God has drawn a clear line between temperance and patience and temperance. You can't have one without the other. Sounds like a song. Every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things, not just some things, all things. So to succeed in life means to be temperate in everything. What is temperance again? Complete abstinence from that which is harmful and moderation in that which is good. Let's get into some interesting facts about the physical benefits of temperance. This was a fascinating topic that I enjoyed studying on. Socrates, we've heard of him, right? So Socrates back 1500 years ago made this statement. There is no difference between knowledge and temperance. For he who knows what is good and embraces it, who knows what is bad and avoids it, is learned in temperate man. Now that is a wise saying from a wise man indeed, but was Socrates saying this because he was just so smart? Or does he have experience in this topic and he was speaking from experience? More interesting facts here. In this volume set called The History and Decline of the Fall of the Roman Empire, volume 4, chapter 43, fascinating write-up, this is what's said. the plague, the bubonic plague, had touched the person of Justinian himself, but the abstemious diet of the emperor may suggest, as in the case of Socrates, a more rational and honorable cause for his recovery. So yeah, he was a wise man indeed, but it seems like he was talking at this point from experience. Continuing, same article, it was thus that Socrates had been saved by his temperance in the plague of Athens. Dr. Mead accounts for the peculiar celebrity, excuse my hacking up that word, the healthfulness of the religious houses by the two advantages of seclusion and abstinence. This is something from 1,500 years ago. We kind of relived this slightly in the last couple of years, but this is amazing, amazing stuff. So he was speaking from experience. Funny how he's mirroring what the Bible has to say. So temperance is complete abstinence from that which is bad and moderation in that which is good. We're going to look at a little mental health benefits here. Times Magazine back in 2013 did an article, I'm sure they did some before and some after that, talking on the mental health. And I quote, "The researchers found a strong connection between higher levels of self-control, aka temperance, and life satisfaction." Same article also said, those who showed the greatest self-control reported more good moods and fewer bad ones. So the topic of temperance that people try to not want to hear or take with a pinch of salt has its roots in mental health and the benefits physically. So there is something to this principle of temperance. So we have to have thought control to master this topic. It's a simple topic when we have it implanted in our mind. So who was the first person, if I was to ask, who was the first person that comes to mind who did not show temperance in their thoughts? Somebody's been looking at the notes. Indeed, Satan did not control his thoughts. And I quote again, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into the heavens, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." I don't think so. But how much chaos and destruction has this thought and Satan brought into this world? All because he did not have temperance in his thought control. Now we get a little closer to home. Adam and Eve did not control their thoughts either. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat. Now we know Adam and Eve's lack of self-control has brought unabated sickness and sorrow and death to this world, all because they did not have temperance in their thoughts. See, your thoughts will ultimately determine your actions. There's no question, no doubt about it. You see, it works like this. Your thoughts become your actions become your habit, and your habit becomes your character. It's so important that we have control of our thoughts. When it comes back to temperance, though, we really have two choices. It's that simple. It's two choices. Is this thing I'm about to do hurtful, or is it healthy? When you have that principle, you have the whole topic of temperance, then everything else will fall into place. So when it comes to nutrition, we heard some of the stats on nutrition. Is that hurtful? Is that healthy? Is burger and french fries and pizza, yeah, it may be delicious, but is it hurtful? Yes. Is this healthy? Avocado, yes. This is the principle. Just ask yourself this in any topic that you can think of. Is it healthy? Exercise. This poor man, a Belgian Olympic weightlifter, is that hurtful or healthy? That's definitely not good. But that's more like it, calisthenics, right? Water. Who likes a nice glass of mud water? Who's thirsty? No, it's very simple when we boil it down. That's more like it. And I've been this guy before. Sunlight. Is that hurtful? Is that healthy? That's definitely more than 15 minutes in the sun for me. That's not what you want to do, but that's more like it. Okay? So temperance is the control of one thing, but it involves everything. What is that thing? It's the mind. We must control our mind. We must control our thoughts. Only then can we control our actions. I'll leave you then with this final quote. Complete abstinence is that which is harmful. Complete abstinence from that which is harmful, and moderation in that which is good. Now there's three types of people in this world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who don't know what on earth just happened. let's be the first group and let's control our thoughts and temperance. Thank you for letting me share.
Good morning, everyone. This is Meheret from the Uchee Pines. Yay. Today we are going to talk about air. But why are we talking about air? Because air is a very important substance for life. So in this presentation, we are going to cover 5 points. What is air? What is air made from? What is the benefit of air for creation? Where can we find good quality of air? And how do we increase quality of air in the house? But first of all, let me ask you questions. How long can we go without food? Maybe 40 days, okay. How about without water? Maybe a week? How about without air? 2 minutes? Yeah, so right there, that one can tell us how long we can stay without air. So that means air is very important. So we talked about these things, 5 points. And what is air made from? Air is made from many components. Some components or many. The first one is 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 1% of other gases like neon, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen. So the main important part of air is oxygen for human beings. So what is air? What is the benefit of air for creation? So us, human beings and animals, we breathe in oxygen from the air and breathe out carbon dioxide or exhale carbon dioxide. And in contrary, plants, all kinds of plants, they breathe carbon dioxide from the air and they release oxygen from the air. So we exchange. That's a good one. If we lack oxygen in our body parts, what happens to our lungs? Lack of oxygen in the lungs can cause shortness of breath, and we may see symptoms of asthma. How about our heart? Heart attack happens when one or more areas in the heart don't get enough oxygen. Exercise sends oxygen and nutrients to our tissue and helps our cardiovascular system work more efficiently. And when our heart and lung health improves, we will have more energy to tackle our daily task. And what happens to our blood when we don't have enough oxygen in the blood? Lack of oxygen in the blood can cause headache, coughing, wheezing, and confusion. Wow. How about our brain? We may have poor concentration, inability to control movement, dizziness. Okay, then how can we increase oxygen level in our hearts, in our body? So we can go outside 20 to 30 minutes every day. We can walk and jog, swim, and avoid smoking. There is one breathing technique, very good for human beings to have more oxygen in our body parts. We call it deep breathing techniques, 4-7-9. So let us stand up and try these techniques. We take in 4 minutes breathing, four counts, then we hold it for 7 counts, then we release it in 9 counts. Okay, let's start. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it 7 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release it 9 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, thank you. Sit down. Okay, we see pollution all around us, and this pollution comes from factory products or factory and also car exhaust, and it's sitting by the computer or by the TV all the day, so we can avoid that. But where can we get quality of air? We can get quality of air by the waterfall, after thunderstorm, in the country, or by the creeks. So we can make it our habit to go there. And then how can we keep clean the air in the house? By avoiding spray chemical bottles, but instead we can use natural substance like baking soda and vinegar. And also we can use damp clothes to clean the house from dust. And also we can use essential oil in the house, or open it or spray it even in the house. And then some more things to do. Open windows and let the sunshine come into the house. The last thing I want to read for you is from Ministry of Healings, page 275. In the building of houses, it is especially important to secure through ventilation and plenty of sunlight. Let there be a current of air and an abundance of light in every room in the house. Thank you so much.
Good morning and happy Sabbath to everyone. So my name is Sardis Catalan, and this time we'll be talking about rest. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word rest? That's right. So we equate rest with restoration. So while exercise and movement are essential for stimulating circulation and elimination of toxins, our body also needs rest and sleep because it is an opportunity for the body to cleanse, repair, and rejuvenate deep down to the cell. So much of the healing work takes place while we sleep. Without the need to attend to other functions of the body, our immune system and our organs of detoxification can focus more on cleansing and restoration. So this is the time when our body does the major cleaning, taking care of the waste that have accumulated during the day and repairing cellular damage. So according to the Harvard Medical School, our body manages and requires sleep in much the same way that it regulates our eating, drinking, and breathing. And extensive research has been done on the effects of sleep, and this studies consistently shown that sleep plays a vital role in promoting physical health, longevity, and emotional well-being. This explains why, after a good night's sleep, we feel better, our thoughts clearer, and our emotions are less fragile. So without adequate sleep, our judgment, our mood, and our ability to learn and retain information are weakened. And over time, chronic sleep deprivation may lead to an array of serious medical conditions such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, and even early mortality. So what are the benefits of adequate sleep? So we'll be sharing with you 7 benefits of adequate sleep. First is that sleep boosts our immune system. So while we are sleeping, our body produces protein molecules that help strengthen our immunity and help us to stay healthy even under stress or exposed to pollutants and infectious bacteria. Second is that sleep helps reduce stress. A good night's sleep can help lower blood pressure and elevated levels of stress hormones. High blood pressure can be fatal, and also stress can degenerate the cells, driving the aging process. So sleep helps to slow these effects and encourages a state of relaxation. And number 3, sleep helps keep the heart healthy. Our cardiovascular system is constantly under pressure, and sleep helps to reduce stress and inflammation in our body. And number 4, sleep helps control body weight issues. So sleep helps regulate the hormones that controls and affects our appetite. And studies have shown that when we are sleep deprived, the normal hormone balances are interrupted and our appetite increases. But unfortunately, this increase in appetite does not lead to cravings to healthier foods such as fruits and vegetables, but to foods that are high in calories, fats, and carbohydrates. So if you are trying to lose unnecessary pounds, you may consider the benefits of sleep on weight control and make sure that you are getting enough sleep every day. And number 5, sleep reduces the chance of diabetes. Researchers have shown that lack of sleep may lead to type 2 diabetes by affecting how our body processes glucose, which is the carbohydrate that our cells use for fuel. And number 6, sleep reduces mood disorders. With insufficient sleep during the night, many people become agitated and moody the following day. Yet when limited sleep becomes a chronic issue, studies have shown that it can lead to long-term mood disorders such as depression or anxiety. And number 7, it improves our memory. That foggy feeling that we struggle with when deprived of sleep makes it difficult for us to concentrate and often leads to memory problems with facts, faces, lessons, or even conversations. And sleeping well eliminates these difficulties because as we sleep, our brain does the organizing and correlating of memories. So the benefits of sleep are extensive and can make a difference in your quality of life and also in the length of our life. Therefore, it is a vital priority to place priority on getting ample and consistent sleep. So we'll be sharing with you some tips for getting adequate sleep. So first is regularity. So you need to sleep and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. And also, the earlier you sleep, the better. Yeah, because 1 hour of sleep before midnight is equivalent to 2 hours after. And then follow a calming bedtime routine every night in 1 to 2 hours before bed. So this may include listening to relaxing music, getting a soothing bath, or meditating on the Word of God. Number 3, avoid large meals later in the day. So, eating a large meal close to bedtime can disrupt sleep quality due to the digestive process that interferes with relaxation and can also potentially cause discomfort. And number 4, avoid using digital devices 1 to 2 hours before bed. So the blue light that is emitted from screens, especially from smartphones and computers, can disrupt the body's production of melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates sleep. So it will be harder for you to fall and stay asleep when you use devices before you sleep, digital devices. And then exercise regularly. So engage in exercise every day, at least 20 minutes every day, because exercise increases the production of melatonin. And of course, keep the bedroom dark, cool, and quiet. And also avoid smoking, caffeine, and alcohol because these are all related to poor sleep. And of course, I'm on number 8. So pray and leave all your cares to Jesus. So aside from the daily rest that we need, we also have the Sabbath rest, which is a weekly rest. So in the Bible, God established the Sabbath at creation, and He set aside the seventh day as the day of rest and made it holy. And the Sabbath comes from the Hebrew word Shabbat, which means to rest from labor. And the Sabbath rest is actually related to what we call the circadian rhythm, which is a 7-day cycle of biological processes of life, including disease symptoms and development. So the Sabbath is the time that we spend with God. And as the mind ascends to God, physiological changes happens in the brain, Chemicals are released that lower blood pressure, lower muscle tension, lowers heart rate, and deepens respiration. And remember that rest is to cease from all our activities. And it's not just physical rest, but to also rest from all our worries and cares. And Jesus invites us to come unto him, and he will give us rest. In Matthew 11:28 to 29. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edwin, and in the next minutes I'll be speaking about trusting in God as one of the 8 natural remedies. We have learned that nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, and rest can improve our health. But does trusting in God have something to do with our health? Yes, and a lot, because there is the relation that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. When one is affected, the other sympathize. The condition of the mind affects the health to a far greater degree than many realize. So that means that we should not only pay attention to our body, but also to our mind. Because many of the diseases from which men suffer are the result of mental depression. Grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilty, distrust, all tend to break down the life forces and to invite decay and death. So, but do we have a number of how many diseases we can get if we don't control our mind? Yes, we have. Sickness of the mind prevails everywhere. 9/10 of the diseases from which men suffer have their foundation here. So, if 90% of the diseases start in the mind, where should we start curing them? In the mind. So that's why we have to worry less and trust more in God. So let's see what the science says about it. They said that if we are very anxious constantly, we can get insomnia, we can get heart disease, we can get low immune system and digestive disorder, and something that we should avoid, depression and suicide. But not all of that is, not all the science is saying bad things. We have some benefits of trusting in God. According to the Stanford University, they said that trusting in God prevents many diseases, speed recovery from illness, improve immune system, increase life satisfaction, and reduce depression and suicide. So if I could give you a medicine that can cure 9 out of the 10 diseases that you can have, would you take it? I will. You know, the Lord tells us that trusting or being anxious can affect all our physical and mental health. So what's the solution? Again, worry less and trust more. And what is that medicine? The medicine is we have to trust in God. The Bible says that are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet no one of them will fall to the ground outside of Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. That's the message. Don't be afraid. Don't be anxious. You are worth more than many sparrows. Do you know how many sparrows are in the world? 1.6 billions. Do you know how many hairs our head has? Between 90,000 and 150,000. And the Lord knows all of that. So that means that He knows when one hair is growing, how many you have now, and how many are falling down. That's how close the care of the Lord is for us. So we have to be in a good courage. We should have hope, faith, sympathy, love, because that is going to promote our health to the body and is going to strengthen our soul. A merry and rejoicing heart does good like a medicine. I went to Guatemala last year, and I had the scariest experience of my life because I'm afraid of flying. In my departure to there, I was scared, very anxious, and I couldn't eat or sleep. So I didn't pass the test of trusting in God. And I'm ashamed of that. But in my way back, I said, Lord, help me to trust in you. And guess what? The Lord made me focus in nature and his power. And also brought to my mind some verse of the Bible in Philippians 4:6-7 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by praying and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Jesus Christ. That's a beautiful promise, right? So I'm going to give you three advice to trust in God and don't be anxious. Number one, worrying is not useful. Which of you, by being worried, can add 1 cubit, 18 inches, to his stature? Nobody. You can worry 1 year and you're going to be the same height. So don't worry. Number two, do not worry about anything, but pray about everything. And we already read that verse. And number three, read and listen to God's voice. He says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Can you imagine that? So, but it is easy to trust in God sometimes when our life is, when we are having bad situations. It's not easy. But let me tell you something. Most of us, we trust in something or in someone. We trust in the banks. So that's why we give them their money. And we trust also in the chefs. That's why we go to the restaurant. Otherwise, we will be like eating at the house every day. If we trust in human beings that can fail us, why cannot give God a chance to trust in him, in him that doesn't fail us, right? If the Lord is the captain of your life, under his wing, you will be safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for presenting and recommending, right, the principles that you have outlined so beautifully this morning. We now have a 10-minute break, and then we continue with our program at about 10:40. And for those who are on live stream, stay tuned.